I'm going to give you two different pieces of advice depending on your level. We're talking about rule substitution questions. There are at most 2 of them on a section of games. At least that's the most there have ever been on a section of games, right? 23 questions in the section, and it'll be like maybe the end of game 1 and then the end of game 3. It'll ask you a question that sounds something like, which one of the following, if substituted for the requirement that X gets out of the clown car before Y gets out of the clown car, would have the same effect in determining what order the clowns jump out of the car. If you're scoring anything less than 17 points per section on the games, which most of us are, if you're scoring anything less than 17 points roughly on the games, I would just say skip that rule substitution question. You know, there's a whole additional game that's coming up. And in the time it takes you to answer that rule substitution question, you might be able to completely solve that game and get or even if you only half solve the game, you know, you get yourself 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 points instead of 1 point for that rule substitution question. It's always the last question in the game. You're not going to learn anything more from that game or about that game. It's the last question, right? If you recognize that it's a rule substitution question, click any random guess. You have a 1 in 5 chance of getting it right anyway. And you spend no time on it at all, and you move on to the next question or the next game. I think that's a winning strategy for every beginner, most intermediate, everybody except for the people who are like really going to finish the section. You know, by the way, if you do finish the section, you could always go back and change your answer. So I think it's almost unfair, actually, if you just, in your favor, if you just skip it. Everybody else is going to crash and burn on that question, and you're just going to like, nah, guess, move on, do another game. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's basically a 2-part process of elimination where I go through the answers. If I can't predict the answer to begin with, you know, so I might like try to predict an answer, scan the answer choices, see if it's there. If it is, boom, move on. But if not, then it's a 2-part process of elimination where you're looking to get rid of the wrong answers. All of them will either create a new limitation that didn't previously exist or fail to replicate the old rule. So either the new rule will do too much, like create some new restriction that didn't previously exist, or do too little, fail to, you know, the rule was X before Y, and the new rule, like, well, it would permit Y to go before X. Well, then that's definitely not the answer.